Do you think Senator Gillibrand is a crook?
No, and I do not think all politicians are crooks.
And why did you call her a crook?
I did not call her a crook. Now, Senator, you need to focus
here's what
on
I'm
this
looking
bill.
right now.
You're doing this again. You did it the last
published a
hearing.
tweet that
You
said
need to
Senator
read the
Gillibrand's
bill.
role in stablecoin regulation, $217,000 in crypto donations. You tweeted that.
Yes, I do.
And then you said, the crypto industry is buying Congress and the White House. This won't end well.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've listened with great interest today, and here's what I hear you saying. The four folks to my left, I hear you saying that digital assets are different. Digital assets hold great promise. Digital assets need special rules. I agree with that. The obvious question is, what should those rules be, and to what extent should we allow you to draft them? I've also heard some of you say that digital assets represent the next generation of the internet. Well, we let the current generation of the internet draft their own rules. And frankly, it looks like what we got as a result looks like somebody knocked over a urine sample. Congress can't even agree on basic legislation dealing with privacy on the internet. How the hell are we going to tackle this? But I hear what you're saying. I hear Mr. Painter, as usual, if you follow him on social media, you know, all politicians are crooks. Very helpful. I want to direct most of my questions to Professor Massad. Is that how you say your name?
Massad.
Mr. Massad. I'm really worried we're going to get this wrong. We don't know, we in Congress and our staffs don't know as much as the professionals in digital assets know. And I don't see how we can possibly catch up. Tell me more about your idea of having the SEC. Well, first, I don't want to run out of time here, but why is the digital assets industry so scared of being regulated by the SEC?
Well, I think we need to step back, Senator.
Briefly, please.
They don't want everything treated as a security because they don't want that entire framework to apply. But that's also because the SEC did fail to try to customize its rules to adapt for this technology, and it should do that. And you've got leadership at the agencies now who are working on those things.
You're suggesting that we turn to two of our agencies, one of which is the SEC, and say, you have expertise. Before we take a crack at a bill, you come up with a bill with rules, with regulations. Tell us how to do this. Because I hear you saying in some cases digital assets are commodities. In some cases, they're securities.
Congress needs to fill the gap, which is if it's not a security, who's going to create a regulatory framework for it? So you do need to fill that. But these questions about exactly which is when is it a security, when is it not a security, how do we customize the rules, what should we do about DeFi, a lot of that should really be left to the agencies. You could establish some principles, but I wouldn't write detailed rules.
Have you looked, Professor, at Congressman Hill's legislation?
I have in detail.
What do you think?
I think it's got a lot of problems. I think it's 236 pages of regulatory arbitrage opportunities for creative lawyers, and I used to be one that did that kind of stuff.
Made a lot of money, did you?
I did, but...
Mr. Painter, Do you think Senator Gillibrand is a crook?
No, and I do not think all politicians are crooks. And
Why did you call her a crook?
I did not call her a crook. Now, Senator, you need to
here's
focus
what I'm
on this
looking
bill.
right now.
You're doing this again. You did it the last
published a
hearing.
tweet that
You
said
need to
Senator
read the
Gillibrand's
bill.
role in stablecoin regulation, $217,000 in crypto donations. You tweeted that.
Yes, I
And
do.
then you said, the crypto industry is buying Congress and the White House. This won't end well. Why do you think the crypto industry is buying Senator Gillibrand?
I said, look at the campaign contributions from this industry.
You think they've bought her?
I said, look at the campaign
You said
contributions.
they bought her. Do you think they bought her?
Senator, you need to focus on this bill instead of trying to distort my Twitter.
You
Last
called
time,
one of my
you
colleagues
were quoting
a crook,
what a Marxist in
and-
Chicago said
And
about
what
me.
evidence do you
Make
have
no
that she's a
sense.
crook?
I said there is massive amount of campaign contributions coming into this Congress from the crypto
Do
industry.
you want to
You
apologize
need-
to Senator Gillibrand?
I do not want you to have to apologize for passing legislation
want to
that
apologize
destroys
to
our
Senator
economy.
Gillibrand for calling
You
her a
are
crook?
distorting
Crook.
what I said, just like you did in the last hearing. You're wasting everybody's time, Senator.
You're a whack job.
Senator,
You are a
wasting.
blatantly
Well, I think we are.
next
I
level
think we.
whack job.
I think we
Is
are.
this
at
middle
time.
school, Senator?
Senators and witness. Thank you both.
I
for
think
your
you should
part-
apologize, to Senator.
I think,
Gillibrand.
Senator, you're wasting our time. This is not middle school.
Thank you for your participation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, did I understand you to say that the reconciliation bill is the most extraordinary legislation you've ever seen? Did I hear that correctly?
There may have been some lost in translation
I
there.
understand. I was a little late. Tell me what tell me what the bond market's telling you.
Bond market's fine now, functioning well. It's pricing, it's reacting to economic news. There's adequate liquidity. Rates have come down pretty significantly from where they were a couple months ago. So I think I think inflation expectations have come down a bit from April, and in general, the bond market is functioning well.
Okay. Explain to me why we have seen in the last few months weakness in the dollar.
That's a great question. And of course, the Treasury Department is responsible for the role of the dollar. So I don't know. I think I would go back to the thought that markets have been digesting an unusually challenging set of circumstances, and have reacted the way they've reacted. The dollar's kind of stabilized now. In fact, it's moved back up here in the last couple of weeks a bit. And there are plenty of people who are still writing that the dollar is still overvalued. We don't have a view on that, of course, but I wouldn't really have an opinion on exactly why it is where it is.
Well, clearly there's a lot of geopolitical risk right now, which would lead one to conclude, all things being equal, that people would be flocking to the dollar and it would be stronger.
Well, you have seen some of that here in the last few days. But again, I don't really have an official view I'd like to share on that. I think there are possible explanations, multiple possible explanations. Again, one of which is that some people still feel the dollar is highly valued.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I want to talk for a few minutes about tariffs and inflation. What does history tell us about tariffs and its impact on inflation or deflation?
So the thing is, we've been through a long period in which tariffs were going down. Remember, since World War II, really, it's been a process of lowering tariffs globally. So there just isn't a lot of modern learning on that. I think people look at the incidence of tariffs during the president's first term, but those were like 1/6 the size of what's people are estimating now. And they do find some effects on inflation. But remember, in 2019, when those tariffs were put into place, the economy was slowing. We actually cut rates 3 times. Inflation was running at 1.5%. So it was a very different time. This is different. I think one of the reasons why it's so challenging is that there really isn't a modern precedent. And I think we have to be humble about our estimates. And we are very open to the possibility that transmission through into inflation will be less than we think, or maybe more than we think, which is why we're in a position of wanting to take our time and make a smart decision as we see how this unfolds.
Well, obviously, the size of the tariffs makes a difference, does it not?
It does.
And we don't know yet the
We don't.
size of the tariffs.
We don't. And we don't have a view on any of the merits at all. That's not our job. Our job is inflation, as you know, and maximum employment.
Will it also matter, let's assume that there is upward price pressure, would it matter how much businesses decide to pass on versus just eat? Does that make sense?
Yes, that matters. That is what matters. You know, the question is who's going to pay for the tariffs? Originally, it's the importer, but it gets passed along through the distribution chain to some extent to the consumer. The ultimate question of it is how much of it does show up in inflation. And honestly, it's very hard to predict that in advance. So we're watching to see, you know, what shows up in measured inflation.
If the president's trade negotiators pursue reciprocity, which I define as both sides reducing, in a quid pro quo, reducing tariffs and trade barriers as much as possible. Ideally, in a perfect world, we would end up with two sides with zero tariffs and zero trade barriers. Would that be inflationary?
No, not at all.
That would cause the economy to roar, wouldn't it?
I think it would be.
Yeah.
an
Okay,
outcome.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your endorsement, Mr. Chairman, of the reconciliation bill.